All right, here's Jay. Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? All right, Mvhayv. I just have a quick question. I had a little bit of problem logging on to Zoom. Did anybody else have to re-register or was it just me? Okay, all right. All right. I am going to start with refreshing first person, and then we'll go to second person, and then we'll go to third person. I know those of you who've seen yesterday, I'm going to review everything we did yesterday. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know. And like I said, I'm going to start right here with our screen share right now. And I just wanted everybody to know that these are the people behind the scenes on in the Mvskoke language program. You see a lot of the first speakers. You see the supervisor and Mr. Barnett to the right. You see him. He's the one that puts a lot of the videos together. So even though you don't see them teaching, it takes all of us to put these lessons and these class together. Go ahead. Oh, all right. Thought somebody had a question. So I just wanted to show you guys, this is 2023. These are all the people who are currently working here. I know we've had people come and go, but I just wanted to share with you. So sometimes when you see some of my PowerPoint presentations and you can hear the first speakers, these are the people behind the voices. So, and I know that we're all busy. They go out and teach in the schools and everything, but I just wanted to give them a little recognition because I know I teach and Mvhayv Barnett teaches, but I usually have a first speaker speaking the Mvskoke words. So you can hear me speak. Like I said, I'm still learning. So sometimes my sound is a little bit choppy. So I wanted you guys to be able to hear on my PowerPoints and on the presentations after I present it, the speakers and the flow and the natural words that just, like I said, it's almost like a song or a tune. You can hear the rhythm of everything, and you can hear them in the speakers, and each speaker has their own sound. So I think that's really cool. All right, let's go ahead and. All right, it's Jay, good looking group of folks. Mvhayv. So I will start this class with some inspiring words. And I know people ask me all the time, hey, how do I say this? How do I say that? I found this on I think it was our Facebook, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And if you guys go to our Facebook, it's got a lot of videos out there. This is one of the ones that I come across people asking me some of these phrases all the time. How do I say this or how do I say that? So let me go ahead and start with our Facebook. And I want to make sure that I'm sharing it. Okay, here we go. All right.
Mvskoke in Bonaga, Mvskoke in Mvhayv. The main component of the Mvskoke tribe is this language. Bonaga Jimunga Hayat, make language a habit. Bonaga in Mvhayv, accept language. Bonaga Andos Gomet, on the identity. Bojanita Inagijit, on the present. Nita Ojahanat, Ganothet, carry the future. Ganothet is carry on your back. Ofonangi Atakwijit, honor the past. Fikhamgit Bonayas, speak bravely.
So like I said, I wanted to share that because you hear speak bravely, own the language, and I thought that was really inspiring. So I wanted to share that with you guys as well. Let me see. Try to screen share again. Okay, Zoom's acting up a little bit, so just bear with me here. Screen share. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead, since we haven't sang our songs for a little while. I know we've been studying and learning. Let's go ahead and sing our song, get our mouths moving, get us in the spirit of learning, and then we will go from there. Can you not hear it? All right, I have a note saying that some people can't hear it. Miss Judy, can you hear the song?
It was kind of intermittent. I think when the tone raised a bit, that's when it would fade out.
Okay, well, let me try it again. And let's see, because I can see it over here. Let's try it again. Is that better? Can you hear it? No. All right. Well, let's go ahead and skip that one for today. I'm not sure what's going on. Sometimes, like I said, the smart board and Google, they get a little cranky. It is Wednesday, hump day, so maybe they're just not feeling it today. So let's go ahead and go to our simple sentences. I am going, like I said, I'm going to review everything that we've done. And okay, have a CD on it. Okay. But I'm going to review everything we've done, and then I'm going to add on to it. So we've done first person, we've done second person, and we're going to go over third person today. And the best way from my experience is to show you guys step by step. And I know it's kind of monotonous, but this is how we're going to learn, is to like repetition. And let me post this here. I'm trying to make sure. Okay, there it is. I wanted to show you guys the Grammar of Creek, the Mvskoke book that a lot of these teachings come from. You can purchase that. I think it's got the Red Stick Gallery here in Okmulgee, the Seminole Nation Museum in Mvhayv, and I think you can also get it on Amazon. It's full of knowledge, but you know, it's a hard read, but you know, just keep trying to learn and everything, and just you'll learn a little bit here, there, and then sometimes a couple of years later you go refresh, and then all of a sudden it just kind of stays with you. All right, let me make sure. Okay, so I'm going to go over these simple sentence present tense rules again. And like I said, repetition is one of the ways to remember. The good thing about module 1 that we are doing right now is we're doing simple sentence present tense. And the rules stay the same, except for right here for step 3. Step 3, you see that that's the only thing that changes in our steps. If you're talking about first person, second person, or third person. So that's good because, it's hard to learn some of these steps, but when you learn it in a group of first, second, and third, you can see how everything changes and how sentences are made. All right. So we're conjugating into present tense. What's happening now? Ooh, goodness. All right, she disappeared. Okay, what's happening now? Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay, what's happening now? You, the present tense steps, you drop the ETV. Number 2, you upgrade the verb stem. Okay, low system resources may affect your audio quality. All right, so that's probably what happened on our song. All right, Number 2, you L grade the verb stem, you lengthen the final vowel of the verb stem. If the final vowel is a V, change it to an A, unless it's followed by MK, NK, or T. If it is, leave it a V. The rest of the final vowels, place a long mark over it. Number 3, add the person marker, first, second, or third. I, it's, or nothing. As you see here, this is the placeholder that I have for our third person. It's not an actual thing that we use in the Mvskoke language. And sometimes in some of my notes, you'll see open and close parentheses. Just because when I'm doing these steps, I have to keep track of where I'm at. And when you don't need your training wheels, you don't have to put anything there. Like I said, this was a placeholder for me when I was conjugating things out. So I made sure I didn't forget a step. And number 4, add the declarative ending. Again, let me say it again, the present tense conjugation. Step 1, drop the ETV. Step 2, L grade. And this is why you see L grade, it has a little bit more rules to it. You L grade the verb stem because you're lengthening the final vowel of the verb stem. If the final vowel is a V, change it to an A, unless it's followed by MK, NK, or T. If it is, leave it a V. The rest of the vowels get a long mark over it. L and L grade means lengthen. So you lengthen the final vowel of the verb stem. L grade shows the tense. So if you see an MVM through L grading, it would turn to MAM. The final vowel can also be the only vowel in the verb stem. V becomes an A unless it's followed by MK, NK, or T. All the other vowels will be lengthened by adding a long mark over it. And step 3, add the person marker, I, it's, or nothing. The person marker shows who's doing the action. I is the first person, means I. It's is the second person, means you. And the third person does not have a marker. So like I said, I represented in my notes with this little symbol right here. And it says no person marker for third person. I also have used in my notes parentheses. And we will see that later on in our presentation here. And so the third person is literally translated to English. It would be she, he, they, and it in the singular. They can be many or one. So if you use they when we're conjugating, because we are doing singular, you just put the SNG for your notes when you're conjugating things out. And number 4, add the declarative ending S or ES. And the declarative endings are also the periods, and they mean am, are, and is. All right, let's see. Does anybody have any questions? Like I said, these are the rules and the steps for all 3, the first, second, and third person. So here I go. Like I said, I'm going to review because it's easier if you go review and then you take the next step. Here, we are conjugating humbida. And right there, it's to eat, not to eat-o. I keep forgetting to update that one. And so it's going to go from step by step. We're going from humbida to eat. You, as you see in our steps, you drop the ETV and it creates the verb stem. This is the verb stem. This is the final vowel. And according to our rules, we put a long mark over the final vowel. And number 3 is add the person marker. And this is where I comes in because we're talking about I'm doing something. You add the declarative marker, am, are, is, and here's your S. And here's the periods because it says it also needs a period. So right here, you see the verb stem. I put it in red for those of us who are visual learners. I always like to add color to it. And here's the marker for I. And the green right here is a declarative ending, meaning am, are, is. And it also means period. So you go from humbida to eat to home base. I am eating. So to me, I thought that was exciting to see from beginning to end how you can make a sentence. And this is a sentence right here. This is a complete sentence. I am eating. And I will show you if I can see the next one. Here it is, the breakdown. Like I said, I like to put a lot of examples in there so you can actually see step by step and how things work. So this part is the verb stem, eating. Here's your person marker, I. And here's the declarative ending, am. So it literally translates to eating, I am, but Mvskoke word is humbis. The literal translation is eating, I am. And the English translation is I am eating. So I'd like to show you guys what literally it says. And so in all my examples, I try to show the steps, and then I try to show the literal steps for translation. All right. And here are our infinitives that we've been practicing with. There are more than 8 infinitive verbs, but I just wanted to make sure that I give you guys little bite-sized chunks of information, because I know when you're overwhelmed, your mind just goes, I'm done. All right, so here's our infinitive verbs. Huithara, to stand, ayada, to go, ayada, to make, nizida, to buy, humbida, to eat, iskada, to drink, Hichida, to see, gethara, to learn, to know. So now that you hear how I pronounced it, then let me go ahead and have you see the slideshow, and you can hear how a first speaker would speak it.
Ayeda, Ayeda, Nisida, Umbeda, Iskida, Hijida, Githida.
All right, Christy, was you able to hear this one? Okay, Mado. All right. So those are the infinitives that we were working with, and you remember our vocabulary words. We went over colors, we went over food. So that's what we're making these sentences up with, is the colors and the food that we already know. I don't like to throw anything at you that you don't already know. All right. Week 3. All right, come on, week 3. There we go. Week 3. So here are some of our other vocabulary words. And you remember, this is at the very beginning of our 6 weeks. So this is where I also drew from to make our sentences. So I would challenge you guys on your time before next Monday's class is to take some of these words, take the infinitives, and to create your own sentences. And by doing that, it's practice for you to remember. It's practice for you to I always talk about muscle movement. It's practice for your hand to remember everything. And you can sit there and you can remember how to pronounce all of these. And like I said, it's got the English phonetics there as well. But these are what I've done our sentences with. So these should look familiar to you. And like I said, I challenge you to sit there and try to conjugate at least a few sentences. Go step by step on the rules. And see if there's anything that you have a question about. And if you do, just ask me next week, because next week is our 6th week and our final week of learning the first, second, and third person. All right. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay, no questions. I know sometimes it seems like it's a lot. And Google's, like I said, trying to be a little cranky today. There we go. All right, we went through that one. All right, so now we went through first person. Let me go ahead and do another example of first person before we go to second person. First person, Nizada, to buy. Drop the ETV. You lengthen the final vowel, which is the E. You add your person marker, which is the I, because we're talking about I right now. You add your declarative ending, and these, if you could get your notes out, it's going straight down the line of our notes. So again, here's your verb stem, your person marker right here in blue, and your declarative ending, which is the S. And we don't put, you can be S or ES, but we don't put an ES if it's already got a vowel there, because that would create a diphthong. And we don't do that. That's why we know to put an S. If it was another thing, if it was a K or a T, you would put ES. All right, Nices. So you're going from to buy to I am buying. That's what this is, a whole sentence. I am buying. All right, so this is the one where it throws a lot of people. I know in my notes right here, it says that the Y is the final vowel. It means the V is the final vowel. That's another one that I'm gonna have to change, but Ayeda. That's how you get from the V very beginning to the A as the very beginning. And let's go down the steps. Like I said, this people ask a lot of questions about this one. So Ayeda, to go, you drop the ETV, you create the verb stem. There's the verb stem. Right here, A is the final vowel. So just mark that out, put V is the final vowel. So mark that out and put that, and this right there, it says the V becomes an A unless it's followed by MK, NK, or T. You've got your I right here as the person marker. You add your declarative ending, which is am, are, is, and also the period. And that's where the A comes from. And that is your verb stem. There's your person marker. There's your declarative ending and your period. Ayes. So Ayeda, to go, Ayes. I am going. I know this was it's got a lot of rules, and until you come to it, you don't really understand it, but this is why it starts with the V at the very beginning and it ends with the A at the end, at the final. All right, does anybody have any questions on that? All right, let's see, class 4. All right. So now let's go to the simple sentences. Like I said, I just use the sentences that we have for the words that we've already covered. So you should know, or at least look, these should look familiar to you. For those of you who started at the very beginning, we have a lot of vocabulary words. And when I teach, I like to throw a lot of vocabulary words out there because how are we going to speak if we don't even know the word for what we're trying to talk about? That's why I throw a lot of vocabulary words out there. All right, the first person simple sentence is Mvskoke chugo ayes. I am going to church. Doklegi ayes. I am making bread. Waga busy doklegi ayes. I am making cheese. Mvskoke afki ayes. I am making grape dumplings. Ilokwa nises. I am buying gum. Benwa nises. I am buying turkey. Aji nises. I am buying corn. Okay. All right, it's not going to the next page. Not sure what's going on here, but let me go ahead and start the slideshow. Let me know if for some reason you can't see the slideshow. Oh, there it is. Okay. The rest of the sentences talk like Sakmovsky home base. I am eating fry bread. Chedahaga home base. I am eating blue bread. Somebody asked a question in another class. They said, where's blue? Where's Holati for I am eating blue bread? She was looking for the word halati because that was one of our vocabulary words. And the answer to that question is blue bread has its own name, Chitahaga. That's why you don't see the word blue in there. All right. A busky, iskis. I am drinking corn drink. Wagabiji, iskis. I am drinking milk. Tolozi, hijas. I am seeing chicken. Ito, hijas. I am seeing, you can put, a tree. It's kind of implied. You're seeing tree, you're seeing a tree. Oklegida, hijas. I am seeing a chair. Mvskoke opanaga kipes. I am learning Mvskoke. So let me go ahead and go to the very front. And like I said, I like to say it because it gives me practice and you can hear how the difference is between mine and the first speakers saying the same thing. So we're going to hear a first speaker.
Amigos of Consumo, yes. Double lady, yes.
Can you hear that?
Wagabisi, double lady, yes. Vasco Aski, yes. Ilua, dices. Pilwa, dices. Aji, dices. Tarlake, Samhosti, bes. Chadamaga, bes. Abaski, iskes. Wagabisi, iskes. Tolosi, hijas. Ido, hijas. Uklegida, hijas. Mvskoke, obonaga, hijas.
All right, you see the differences in the way I say it and the way speaker says it. They've got a rhythm, they've got a flow, they've got that sound. And that's what we're all striving for. So that's why I have these in the Google Drive. You can hit the slideshow for the PowerPoint and you can hear it. And whenever you get a chance, just, go through it, every day, every other day, however long you need to, go through it. And just remember how it sounds and try to get those emphasis on the words like the first speakers do. Because I know I do that as well. I still do my song in the morning and I still do some of the exercises that we do in class. All right, does anybody have any questions before we move on to the second person? Like I said, I'm using the vocabulary words that we have already learned. I'm using the exact same sentences, but I'm doing the first person, second person, and the third person, so you can see the difference. All right. So when I'm practicing all this, it goes a little smoother than when I'm actually teaching in class. And you know how that goes. Sometimes you have everything set up and then something happens where it's like, wow, it's not working. Let's see, this is the first person. Week 4. We've already covered this part. Okay, second person. Here are the second person sentences. Let's see. Third person, second person. Okay. Here's second person, humbeda. And this should be to eat, not to go. So just scratch that out, put to eat. Humbeda, to eat. Drop the ETB, which creates the verb stem. This is the verb stem. O is the final vowel, so you put the long mark over the O. The it's is the second person marker, which is you. And it's. And that's going to take a little practice, I know. And then the next one is add the declarative ending. You see that we added ES because it's not a vowel right there. So it's ES instead of just S. Add the declarative marker, and the declarative marker is am, are, is, and it's also the period at the end of the sentence. You see the verb stem, home. You see it's, you, and then ES. You can add S or ES. I need to put that in my notes as well. You can, it's ES, which is, or S, depending. So Hombitskis. That is, you are eating Hombitskis. I know it becomes a tongue twister, I understand. All right, let's see if I can find third person. Not sure where all of my other notes are. Third person. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. I don't see my other notes for the second person here. So let's go ahead and just jump into the third person. Oh, let's go ahead and do the second person sentences. And like I said, I'm using the same words, but you can see that it's conjugated different. Miga subko chugo ayitskis. That means you are going to church. Or doklegi ayitskis. You are making bread. Waga busy doklegi ayitskis. You are making cheese. Buthko afki ayitskis. You are making grape dumplings. Hilokwa nisitskis. You are buying gum. Benwa nisitskis. You are buying turkey. Aji nisitskis. You are buying corn. And you can see that it looks almost exactly like the first person, but you have the ETSK because we are using second person. All right. Doc Lake Sakmovki Hombitskis. Chalahaga Hombitskis. You are eating blue bread, and the first one was you are eating fry bread. A busky iskitsis. Hold on. Just a second. A busky iskitskis. You are drinking corn drinks. And you can see it. This is the next sentence. Waga bishi is iskis. You are drinking milk. Tolozi is itskis. Oh. Toloji hijitskis. You are seeing a chicken. Ito hijitskis. You are seeing a tree. Oklegida hijitskis. You are seeing a chair. Mvskoke opanaga kititskis. You are learning Mvskoke. You see that it does become a tongue twister because we're not used to saying these combinations in English so much. So let me go ahead and see if I can find the PowerPoint for that one. Like I said, this one is missing some of my PowerPoint, but I will share the PowerPoint with you on the Google Drive. First person, new sentences, third person, simple sentences. So while we're doing that, let's go ahead and go to the third person because we did go over the first person. We did go over the second person. Now we are trying our chops at third person. All right. And remember, get your little sheet out so you can go step by step. And you can see what steps we're following. Right here, third person, humbida, to eat. Remember, that's to eat, not to go. You drop the ETV, which creates the verb stem. There's your verb stem. O is the final vowel. You lengthen the final vowel. And like I said, in my notes, I always put this little symbol, but that's not, there's no marker. But when I was conjugating out, I wanted to keep my placeholder. So this is a symbol you can use, or you can use the open and close parentheses. And you will see that in my notes later on. So I added this to know that there's no person marker for the third person. And so I didn't skip a step. And right here, you see you add the declarative ending es because P is the last letter in our sentence here. Also, you see here that I added the place marker, but here's the verb stem. And then there's no person marker, but like I said, I added it up here. That's just a placeholder. The declarative ending right here, and it should be es, but it's right here, it's s or es. So this is your final word, humbis. So you went from humbida to eat humbis. You are eating. Wait, I'm sorry. This is third person. He is eating. She is eating. They are eating. It is eating. And one of the examples I use for it, if you're standing there talking to your friend and they say, "Where's the dog?" It is eating. Point over there. It is eating. That was one of my examples for it. Or somebody asks you a question, how would you use they? Well, where's Coco? Oh, they're over there buying gum. So that would be they are buying gum. So that's where you would use that one. All right. Okay. So I've got two of those. All right, here's another one. Iskida, to drink. Right here's your verb stem. Like I said, just follow along in your notes. You lengthen the final vowel E. E is the only one that I was told that changes from I to E, the sound. The other ones, like I was talking to Mvhayv and Eli, you just kind of lengthen just a little bit longer on those certain ones with a line over it. Here you see that I use the open and close parentheses for my place marker because sometimes it was easier just to throw that in there. And when you're typing, oh my gosh, trying to find the other symbol is horrendous. So for time's sake, I was just using the open and close parentheses. It's easy to find that on the keyboard. So there's my placeholder. Add the person marker, which in third person there is not a placeholder. Or there's not a marker, so we put a placeholder. And here again, the last letter is a K, so you add the es. The declarative ending, meaning am, are, is, also the period of the sentence. So there's your verb stem in red. This is your placeholder for he, she, he, it, they, and singular, we're talking about one person. And here you've got the declarative ending, s, es, meaning am, are, is. You said iskis. Iskis. So you went from to drink to iskis. Iskis. I am drink. You are drinking. She is drinking. He is drinking. They are drinking. So that is a complete sentence. I have no idea where the rest of my stuff went to. Let's go to another example. Hijira, to see. Like I said, this is kind of monotonous, but if you see it, it makes sense. And then as soon as you don't see it, as soon as you get up, go to lunch or whatever, some of the stuff is going to fall out of the way. But that's okay. We have these on the Google Share, so you can come back and review them. So hijira. Verb stem, you lengthen the E, you add your placeholder if you need to, the person marker, which is she, he, it, they. You add your es. There's your verb stem. There's your placeholder for all of these. There's that. Add the s or the es. Hijis. So you got from hijra to see to hijis. You are, he is seeing, she is seeing, they are seeing, it is seeing. Okay. This is also the breakdown. I couldn't find the other breakdowns. I know they're in the Google Drive, but I don't know. Those of you who've worked with computers know that when you put something on there, sometimes it's not there when you need it. Because in the computer world, usually like if you have you save it to a drive, Google has more than one computer to back up. Sometimes it doesn't replicate in the rest of the storage area, and you have to wait sometimes a couple of minutes, sometimes a couple of hours. But anyway, I think that's what happened. I'm not quite sure. So you got right here, breaks down from Hijida to see to seeing. There's your placeholder. So if you know that there's nothing here and there's no placeholder, you know it's third person. So that would be she, he, it, they. And here's are with the period. So the literal translation is Hijis. Literally seeing, they are. And then, you know, you change it to English translation, they are seeing. All right. Yeah, I know, some of the folders have more than one of the same thing. I know that I've gone in and cleaned them up, but sometimes computers, they don't listen. And so I do have a computer degree, so I do kind of know what I'm talking about. It's just, you know, how do you tell people who don't work with computers? Well, it's not my fault. It was there, but Google must have looked at a different server than the one I put it on. So my policy is to blame the computer. All right, Kethida, to learn, to know. You drop the ETV, your verb stem. You lengthen the final vowel, which is the E. Kethida, so it's gonna be Kethida. You add your place marker for the third person because third person does not have it. You add your ES, which is am, are, is. There's your verb stem. There's your place marker for third person. And here is your declarative ending, ES, because R is not a vowel. Keep this. So you went from Kethida to learn to he is learning, she is learning, they are learning, it is learning. So it's kind of funny how you, out of this one thing, you can have she, he, they, or it. And again, I wanted to show you the breakdown. Learning. And you know that this is just a placeholder, this one right here, so there's really nothing there. And he, I chose he for my example, but it could be she, it could be they, and it could be it. But in my example, I put he, learning, he, and then here's is. He this. Learning, he is. English translation, he is learning. And like I said, for a third person, it could be learning, she is. Learning, it is. Learning, they are. And then just English translation, she is learning, it is learning, they are learning. All right, any questions? Did that make it a little bit easier? All right, let me go to our third person sentences. And I do apologize because I had these in PowerPoint yesterday and I was able to present them yesterday with the speaker's voice. And for some reason, it just disappeared today. And I know I didn't delete those. So, you know, they will be on the Google Drive probably tomorrow and definitely by next week. All right, so you see that we are using the same sentences, the same words, but you know, if you print it out, you can have them side by side. First person, second person, third person, and you can see where the changes are made. Mvhskoke chugo. And this, like I said, I wanted to show you because I used both of them in my notes, that these are just, how you can conjugate it, and those are the placeholders. So she is going to church. This is the final word, es. She is going to church. Mvhskoke chugo es. And actually, I was thinking about that this morning. I was getting ready. I was trying to use es. Sorry, es. Like I said, my mouth went back to English because I was thinking es. Okay, ducklegi, hayes. Hayes, ducklegi, hayes. He is making bread. See, you see that there's no person marker in there. So that's situational. If you're talking to somebody and you're talking about a specific person and the person is a female, it's ducklegi, hayes, and you're talking about a she. So if you're sitting there and you're talking about somebody else, it is making bread, they are making bread. But you see that there's no definite person marker here. So it's like I said, situational where well, I'm talking about Coco. Coco's a female, she is making bread. I'm talking about Brandon. Well, Brandon's a he is making bread. Right here again, there's my notes for my placeholders, so you guys don't get confused. Waga busy ducklegi hayes. She is making cheese. Placeholders. Final version right here. Mvskoke afki hayes. He is making grape dumplings. Notes. The final version, hilokwa nisis. They are buying gum. That's why I said put singular, because when you're conjugating and when you're learning, sometimes you just have to put these little notes. That's why I asked, whenever you conjugate, and like I said, I challenge you guys to just make some sentences and use these. Just put the singular, because you're talking about one day. Okay, notes. Benoit nieces. She is buying turkey. Notes. Final version. Aji nieces. He is buying corn. Chocolate Sokmolski. Notes. Hombes. He is eating fried bread. Hombes. Chedahaga. Notes. Final version. Chedahaga hombes. She is eating blue bread. Notes. Final version of Busky Eastkis. They are drinking corn drink. My notes. And the final version, Waga busy Iskis. He is drinking milk. The notes, final version, Tolozi, she is seeing chicken. It could be he is seeing chicken. Ito. Notes right there, final version, Ito, he is seeing tree. Notes. Final version, Oklegida. She is seeing a chair. For some reason, I keep thinking Doc Leggy. That's why I get stumped on that one. I for some reason when I see that I think Doc Leggy. And then Doc Leggy also goes to my personal story is my mom. I always called her Doc Leggy woman because she just loved bread. So and my daughter loves bread. So Doc, I don't know. For some reason that makes me think of Doc Leggy. And then things of my mom. All right, so notes here. Final version, Mvskoke Opanaga, keep this. They are learning Mvskoke language. All right, does anybody have any questions? Is this starting to make sense? Has anybody? Go ahead.
Well, I've noticed that when you say like heaches, it sounds like a short E, the second E. Sounds like a English short E to me when you say it. And I thought it was supposed to be more of a short English I sound like heaches. Am I just wrong?
He just like that.
Heaches.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was telling the class before. Sometimes I get a little excited and sometimes my brain switches back to English and I have to sit there and correct myself. That's why when I make these presentations, I'm learning, you're learning, and then I also put the speakers, in my PowerPoint so you can hear how it's supposed to be pronounced, because they do tell me all the time, you need to slow it down because my sounds and my words get a little English sounding. But Mado, thank you for saying that, and I do know that that's part of my. Like I said, I get excited when I teach, and I just start going fast. Okay, oh, here they are. So let's go through these. You heard how I've said them. Like I said, I'm still learning. And just like you guys, I have to switch my brain to Mvskoke brain. And that's why I still practice with these. In the morning, I sit there and I say these words because sometimes, even though you can hear it in your mind, you're like, okay, I know how to say it. And then once you try to say it, your mouth says something completely different. So let's go ahead and hear the speaker speaking it. And let me know if you can't hear it.
Amigos of Kajugo, ayes. Tarlegi, ayes. Wagabisi Tarlegi, ayes. Pasco Aski, ayes. Ilugwa, nieces. Pinwa, nieces. Aji, nieces. Tarlegi, Sarmoski, umbes. Chadahaga, umbes. Abaski, iskes. Wagabisi, iskes. Tolosi, hijes. Ido, hijes. Uklegida, hijes. Mvskoke, ubonaga, hijes.
All right. This is the second person. Oh, good. It's the PowerPoint.
Mvskoke jugo ayetskis. Taklegi hayetskis. Wagabisi taklegi hayetskis. Pasco afki hayetskis. Ilukwa nisitskis. Benwa nisitskis. Aji nisitskis. Taklek sakmoski umbitskis. Chadahaga umbitskis. Abaski iskitskis. Wagabisi iskitskis. Tolosi ijitskis. Ido ijitskis. Ohlegida ijitskis. Mvskoke ubanaga ijitskis.
Well,
Ayes.
Hmm.
Taklegi.
Okay, you got a question? Go ahead.
yeah. Aboga ida ojes. And she was saying those. She made the E at the end like a long English E, and instead of a short I probably would have said Ijitskis, but she said Ijitskis. Is there a rule for that last E?
One of the things that always comes up in the questions is for E's. I'm picking up that an E on the endings, it seems.
I mean, you've covered it before. I'm sorry to ask.
Oh, no, that's fine. There's no rules for long E or short E on where they're gonna appear. And I did ask the first speakers, I'm like, what is the rule that I can present? So I will know, and you guys will know, you know, the rule. And there's no rule. There's no rule for the E's, the long E or the short E in the Mvskoke
Well,
language.
she was consistently at the end of every one of those making it E's, like Hijitskis.
Right,
like you see, so.
when we conjugate it and when you get the long mark over the E,
There's
Mvhayv,
no long mark over that. It's the last E in the word.
okay, like the ES.
Right. Bachidos. Min windows.
Mark or emphasis point on the end of a sentence. I use. From what I understand is it's got the short E sound, I, not the long E sound for the ES is, like it'o, I, you know, the short E sound. Does that make sense?
Can you say it again?
It's right here. For the ES, the last part. It's got the I, it's, I is.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, but with the Itskis, she was using that ending, that you singular ending Itskis. That last ES, as we talked, was a long English. So it's a short I English there. But
Right.
if well, it's Mvskoke Ayetskis. Be how I would have said it, but she was saying it Mvskoke Ayetskis. If I think.
So Mvskoke chugo ayitskis. Is that what you're talking about?
I said that's how I would have said it, but she seemed to say it Ayetskis.
Yeah, ayitskis. Well, part of it is regional. You know,
Okay.
you
So
know,
it can vary from place to place.
it can. And one of the things, the reason why I come to a lot of questions from the Mvhayvs is they didn't learn rules. You know, they just like somebody was saying is absorption. And it just depended on who was speaking and who taught or who you learned from. The way and you know, it's just like when we learn English, we learn proper English. Because we do go by the rules, but there's a lot of times when a lot of people don't go by proper English. And this is more so rules of Mvskoke that they've come up with that keep you on track. Because I did have a Mvhayv say, well, we don't really use the third person like he, she, it, or, you know, or they. We don't use that very often. And I was like, well, this is, you know, it's one of the ways that slang and local dialect. This is the way I was taught. You're taught everything. If you need everything, it depends on who you're speaking with, but you're taught everything in case you hear somebody speaking this way or that way. You know, you can understand what they're talking about. So that's the way I look at it. Is I'm taught when I went to college, I was taught this way, and you know, you've got your local dialects who don't speak that way. You've got like you see Mvhayv Barnett, like Dois. So it's sometimes the T's at the not with
So you would have said Ayetskis yourself instead of Ayetskis.
yes, I would say ayitskis. Because it's is.
Although
Because if you said to me, the way I learned it was ayitskis. Because you got it's and it is.
I'm sure there's a Seminole person that I know who would say Ayetskis probably. So
Yeah, and like I said, it's dialect, and from what I've heard, I've been talking to some people in the complex, and they're like, oh, well, a lot of your speakers have this dialect. I'm used to that dialect. And for me, still learning, I don't hear the difference, but if I speak or am around somebody who has different dialect, you know, I'm pretty sure that I probably, hey, that sounds a little different. But it's just how she says it, you know, like I said, that might be her dialect, it might be how she was taught. But if she says it, you know what she's talking about. It's just. All right, did that help any or?
Yeah, I just wondered if there was a rule or if it was like what you're saying. The books have it one way, but a lot of people that speak differently than that. And
That and there's so many
I've
different.
come I
Right.
know a couple of people that were speakers, and I get the idea there's some fair
What part did they
variation.
grow up around? I mean, because that might be like a regional dialect. Did they grow up around Okmulgee, Tulsa, or other places? Do you know?
One of them was Seminole, the other one was my wife's mother.
Okay, Seminole,
Um,
I know have differences. I'm also Seminole. I haven't heard any differences. And when I was trying to learn the Mvskoke language, I was told, go learn the Creek way. Because there's not a lot of people that teach or know the Seminole way, unless you go to Florida Seminoles. They have immersion camp, they have immersion schools, but their way of speaking is also different. The E sounds familiar to me. It could also be left over from Scottish people. Yeah. But all right, let me go ahead and finish this up. I know we're running a little bit out of time, but thank you for your questions. That, like I said, I think it might be a regional. Mvskoke Creeks speak differently than the Seminoles. I just haven't been around so many Seminoles speaking that maybe I just didn't pick it up. All right, let me go ahead and let you hear the third person.
Because of the eyes. The plague eyes. Wagabisi the plague eyes. Pasko apke eyes. Eloqua nieces. Benwa nieces. Aji nieces. Taklek sakmoke hombis. Chadahaga hombis. Abaski ish. Wagabisi ish. Tolose ichis. Edo ichis. Oplegida ages. Mvskoke Obanaga Pieces.
All right, well, that takes up our hour. Thank you for asking questions. It makes us think about the differences and makes us think about some of the rules. Like I said, I learned this way through college, and a lot of our speakers, and they didn't go to school for learning Mvskoke. So there's, you know, just however they were brought up, however they were taught. Also coming into play with that is, you know, slang gets into it, you know. I know from personal experience, my great aunt, she would speak Mvskoke all the time, but you couldn't understand her so easily because she didn't have any teeth. And she didn't wear her dentures or anything. So, you know, these little things come to play on how somebody was taught. So anyway, all right, let me say, if nobody has any questions, Madam Teacher, please, I'll see you guys next time. And like I said, I challenge you guys to sit there and try to write out some simple sentences. And then, you know, we can try to share next week. If not, I'll have some more sentences. If you guys have any questions, just write them down and we'll address them next time. All right, Madam. All right, Madam Teacher, please. Mm.